In 1848, the small mill town of Seneca Falls, New York, became the site of one of the most important conventions in the history of women's rights. The Seneca Falls Convention was the first big meeting in the United States about women's rights. It happened in 1848 in Seneca Falls, New York, and people went there to organize and talk about how women were being treated unfairly. Elizabeth Cady Stanton helped organize it and wrote the paper called the Declaration of Sentiments, talking that women should have the same rights as men, including the right to vote. This meeting was important because it started the women's rights movement and helped more people stand up for equality. It was also important because it started the women's suffrage movement and served as an example of a new way to create bigger change. The Seneca Falls Convention provided the first major chance for women to fight for their rights as a group. It was organized by Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Lucia Mott, alongside attendee Frederick Douglass. It was also the place where she gave her most famous speech, the Declaration of Sentiments. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal. Not only did this document show that women should have rights, but it demanded the most revolutionary right yet, the right to vote. This meeting eventually became the 19th Amendment on June 4th, 1919, so about 72 years after she started the convention. But that convention was only the first step. All of the people at the event were already well known for their role, the right of citizens. Lucia Mott was an important leader because she spoke out against slavery and stood up for women's rights when not many people did. She was a great speaker and traveled to different places to tell people that slavery was wrong and that women should be treated fairly. She also helped organize the Seneca Falls Convention and used it to inspire people to create a revolution.
In addition, Frederick Douglass was born into slavery around 1818 in Maryland. As a child, he was not allowed to learn how to read or write, but he secretly taught himself because he believed education was important. He was treated very harshly while enslaved, which made him even more determined to be free. In 1838, he escaped from slavery and traveled north, where he became a free man. After gaining his freedom, Douglass became a powerful speaker and writer. He told people about his life in slavery to show how cruel it was and to convince others to help end it. He wrote a famous book about his life and traveled around giving speeches. Throughout his life, he worked for equal rights for all people and became one of the most important leaders in the fight against slavery. Soon after that, he helped shape his belief that all people deserve equal rights. Because of this, he supported not only the end of slavery, but also the beginning of women's rights.
In addition to human rights, the Seneca Falls Convention created the huge reform of voting rights. This led to the 19th Amendment. It played a crucial role in starting the movement for women's suffrage, led by activists like Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucia Mott. The convention produced the Declaration of Sentiments, which argued that women were being denied basic rights, including the right to vote. Although the idea of women voting was controversial at the time, the convention helped bring national attention to the issue and inspired more people to join the cause.
After Seneca Falls, the women's rights movement continued to grow. Activists such as Susan B. Anthony worked for decades by organizing campaigns, giving speeches, and forming groups dedicated to achieving suffrage. The movement gained strength over time, especially as some states, particularly in the West, began granting women the right to vote, proving it could work in practice. This progress helped build momentum and pressure on the federal government.
By the early 20th century, the movement had become large and influential, using protest marches and political lobbying to demand change. All of these efforts, which began with Seneca Falls, eventually led to the ratification of the 19th Amendment in 1920. This amendment made it illegal to deny the right to vote based on sex, fulfilling the goal first clearly demanded at Seneca Falls more than 70 years earlier. Stanton married Henry Brewster on May 1, 1840, in Johnstown, New York, just a few months after they met in 1839. She was 25 years old at the time, and notably, she insisted on removing the word obey from their marriage vows. The couple immediately left for a honeymoon in London to attend the world's anti-slavery fair.
Soon after that, she had her first child, Daniel Cady Stanton, born on March 2, 1842, as he started working in journalism, writing, and various professional fields. On January 20th, 1856, Stanton had her sixth child, Harriet, who was a writer, a lecturer, and a key suffrage organizer, while following her mother's footsteps in the convention that started in 1848. At the time, there were about 300 people, with more coming.
In conclusion, Elizabeth Cady Stanton has helped shape the world in powerful ways. For example, Kamala Harris became the first woman as well as the first Black and Asian American person to serve as Vice President of the United States in 2021, showing how far society has come. However, even with these achievements, women still face challenges such as inequality and discrimination. It is important that we continue to support and empower women so progress does not stop. By working together, we can create a future where everyone has equal opportunities.
She frequently studied law in her father's office, developing an early awareness of legal gender discrimination, and even plotted to cut unfair laws from his law books. She attended Johnstown Academy and later graduated from the Troy Female Seminary in 1832. Elizabeth was 32 years old at the time when she first organized the Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls, New York, on July 20th, 1848. Born in November 1815, she was a mother of 3 at the time. She focused on writing and advocacy rather than traveling, authoring key volumes of the history of women's suffrage. She was about 75 years at the time.